So this is a bit of an update video for November 2020. We're coming into the winter season, and this is a time where I don't really do a whole lot of outdoor activities, so I'm going to have to try and catch up with a lot of my old crap projects. On my desk here, I've got some of the older machines I've had for a while. These two laptops, I'm just waiting on parts. I've got some ideas for these. Below that, I've got a PowerMac 6100. I've actually got a few of these, nothing new. This particular one is going to be used for some Copland projects, but I'll get into that in a bit. And my new acquisitions, this AST 486, and a machine I've wanted for a long time, probably one of my favorite little mini tower machines, the PowerMac 8500. So getting started with my new acquisitions, this is a computer that I picked up from Vancouver earlier this week, and this is the AST Advantage Adventure 6050D. So it's got a 46 Cyrix processor inside of it running at 50 megahertz. And I mean, it's not an overly impressive computer, and I do already have a 486 of this, like this general form factor. So I've already got that running with Windows 3.11. So with this machine, I'm probably going to do something a little more obscure. I'm thinking I'm going to try Windows NT 3.1 because I don't think I've ever run it, and I might as well just do it for fun. So next up is my Power Macintosh 8500, and this is a stock 120 megahertz CPU inside of this thing. Now I'm probably going to keep it that way. I don't really need to upgrade this. I've already got faster machines, but I specifically wanted the PowerPC in this form factor, and I did want it to be PCI based, so the 8500 was my primary choice over something like the PowerMac 8100. So going down to Vancouver to pick this one up, this was actually my primary reason for visiting the stores down there. So I was able to get this at a pretty decent price. And yes, these are already broken. The faceplates, they were broken when I bought the machine, and I already knew that. Much like my other PowerMac tower, the 9500, I will actually be putting like glue all around here and basically securing these on that way. There's really no way around that. Nobody has these that are actually in good condition anymore. And if you ever find one that is not broken and then you install it, it'll break instantly. So there's really not any point to that. So I've got some ideas for what I want to do with this machine. I'm going to put my Pentium PC card inside of this machine and maybe a couple other cards for whatever I can find. And then probably just use macOS 7.6 or something like that. I do have 8.1 on my 9500, so I don't need to have another macOS 8 tower. So if we look at kind of like my mid-range Pentium laptops, the one I've got over here, the Toshiba Satellite Pro 435, this was originally going to be my general Windows 95 use laptop, and I did already install Windows 95 on there and got it online and all that stuff. And I was going to use that just as kind of like a test machine for any real old software where I didn't want to pull a full PC tower out of my storage. Now, the problem with this one is it's got that passive matrix screen, so for fast movement, it isn't really that great. Now, I can live with that, but I did actually find this laptop on eBay for very cheap. This is the Compaq Armada. I believe it's the 7710. If I'm not mistaken, it is a 150 megahertz Pentium MMX processor. So the Compaq that I have here is slightly faster than my Toshiba, I'm pretty sure. I think the Toshiba is only maybe 133 megahertz or something like that. Now, the problem with the Compaq is the hard drive is actually missing, and it uses this stupid little caddy system. So I actually had to go on eBay and pay more for a hard drive than I did for the entire laptop in order to basically get this thing working. And that part, I'm still waiting for it to come in. But what I'll be doing is turning the Compaq into my Windows 95 laptop because the screen looks like it's active matrix. So I've already had this thing turned on and I could see like the boot failure message on the screen. And the quality of that LCD does look better than the Toshiba. So I'll be moving my Windows 95 install over to the Compaq laptop. And for the Toshiba, I might try to do something very crazy like the x86 version of OpenStep, or something like that. Maybe OS2, I don't know. I can't really think of anything, but I mean, this is not a bad laptop. It still only has like that one speaker, whereas the compact here does appear to have the stereo speakers. And aside from the differences between the screens, I mean, they're both pretty much the same. They both have CD-ROM drives, so yeah, I only need one as my Windows 95 machine, so the other one I'll just try with crazy operating systems, whatever I can find, really. So as you can see, I have a fairly basic Power Macintosh 6100. This is the worst condition 6100 that I own. I do have a couple more that are in much better shape, so nobody needs that many PowerMac 6100s, really. And this one is the original 60 megahertz version, so I mean, this is like as slow as you can possibly get. And I do already have, my other ones are a 60 as well as a 66 megahertz version. So I didn't want to just like try to sell this to someone for dirt cheap, because I mean, who would want to pay for this junk? But I did actually have one particular use I wanted to get out of this, and that would be turning it into a dedicated machine for my Apple Copland testing. And if you've seen my previous Copland videos, I actually used this machine to do all of that stuff. So I actually ran a video capture card off the video port on this machine to run my Copland tests. So basically I'm going to be doing it as a permanent machine for my D11E4 Copland build testing. I don't expect to accomplish much of anything. I'm just trying to document the operating system, do the best that I can with that. But, you know, I can't really think of anything better to do with it, so it might as well just be for Copland. And you might think that it's a pretty stupid thing to be wasting time on, and you are correct. But it is fun. So, yeah, you can look forward to more Copland crap in the future with this computer, I think. So I think the last machine I'm going to talk about, if you weren't aware, I do actually own one of these Apple interactive television set-top box machines. And it's pointless. There's really no reason to own one of these unless you just want to keep it on a shelf, which unfortunately is what I've been doing with it, but I didn't buy it for that purpose. I bought it to do some crazy hacking with it. And so far I've been unsuccessful, but what I'm trying to do with this machine is I've got this little, I got one of these little ROM sims off eBay. So originally these things are meant for like adding better features like 32-bit addressing to Macintosh SE30s and stuff like that. But the ROM sim uses these PLCC32 sockets, and I went out and I bought a chip burner, and I intended to burn my own ROM images with this thing to put in here and to try inside of this thing, because it doesn't have an integrated ROM on the board, it uses the ROM sim. And nobody's ever been able to get like this thing booting with proper video output. You can usually get it to boot off of, depending on what ROM you have, you can usually get it to boot off of a connected hard drive, but you can't see it happening. There's no video. And if you have a different ROM that actually has a video output, it doesn't boot off of anything. It just sits there waiting for an Oracle server over the network. And nobody has those anymore, I can almost guarantee it. But what I did do is I went out and ordered all these little chips, different ones here. And I pulled all these other ones off of like old PC motherboards that were in the garbage pile where I work. And my chip burner, I don't know why, but it'll read the chips fine, but whenever I go to write the thing, it'll complete the write process, and then it will fail the verification, and when I go and read the chip again, it's all zeroed out, there's no data there, and I can't figure out what's going on. This, it's a fairly popular chip burner, and when I bought it, I think I ordered it from the actual people who made it, so I'm thinking it's not going to be like a fake product or something. And yeah, it reads the chips, but when it goes to write the chip, it doesn't tell you it failed, but it clearly did, because it doesn't actually write anything to the chips. And I still have to try some of the other chips I found. All the ones that I actually bought from suppliers, none of them seem to actually do the writing. And I tried different versions of the software. I've tried it on a Windows machine and a Linux machine, and it all has the same result. So there's something really strange, and I don't know if it's the burner itself or this little, I don't see how, but maybe it's this little PLC C32 adapter thing, or, I mean, I've tried different brands of chips, different models. They were all supported by the software, but they still just, for some reason, they don't write. Even though it says it's writing, it actually doesn't. So that's baffled me. I'm still working on that. Basically, once I figure out how to get the stupid chips to write, then I'm going to try and maybe figure out if I can find different ROM images and see if I can make any progress on this project. But it's not something I have a whole lot of hope for. It's something that's just going to basically eat up my time, but you never know. Maybe I'll be successful. So, yeah. Anyway, I think that wraps up the planned projects that I've got for this winter. I will try to get some more videos out. I do have a little bit more stuff for Copland planned in some upcoming videos, but I do want to cover some other stuff. I've got some old Mac videos I wanted to make and maybe cover a bit more software stuff, because I have a shelf full of software that I'm dying to open and play with and record videos of and stuff like that. So yeah, you can look forward to all of that crap at some point in the future. Anyway, thanks for watching.